Let's try this again. So, I finally missed a week. Yeah, that's interesting. I had actually planned to do that episode yesterday because I've been posting them mostly on Sundays anyway. And it's weird to me because the subject that I was going to talk about was mostly about how I feel like I've gotten used to the rhythm of working every day and doing shoots and attending meetings and editing a whole ton more than I used to and all of this stuff. Because the last few episodes I was talking about being exhausted all the time. And it is true, I have gotten used to the idea of working and my body has gotten used to the whole rhythm of it. What I didn't take into account though was the fact that weekends exist for a reason, and that's for your body to, recuperate. So yesterday, after I finished another shoot at KL Pack for Short and Sweet musical, got back home, had dinner, and in my head I was like, I'm just gonna do this on my phone because there was also another mic that I wanted to test out that could connect to the phone. And thought I'd just do it quickly whilst I'm transferring footage and doing a little bit more editing. But right after 2 slices of Mikey's Pizza, I was spent. Like my body crashed and I was like, oh. And I didn't want to do another episode where I was like tired and all this stuff, especially to talk about getting back into the rhythm of work. So it's just a conscious decision to be like, you know what, fuck it. I missed an episode by a day. It's okay. Should probably change the schedule to Mondays instead of Sundays anyway, so that gives me a little bit more leeway. And I figured since I was pushing it to the next day, I'd try out the setup that I'd built in my studio for doing vlogs. So this is how it would look in light, which is looking pretty good, I gotta admit. It's for me to test on a whole bunch of things, like how the lighting works, how the mic is, and whether it picks up anything from outside, or the air conditioner, or my 18mm lens, which doesn't have silent autofocus, so, it can get a bit noisy. Yeah, let me just show you how it all looks, actually. So, there's my camera attached to a light stand with the Shogun over there, a boom pole with my Rode NTG4, if I'm not mistaken, NTG3 or NTG4. That's just a light stand. There's a clamp over there with a ball head for the camera, and another clamp with the hot shoe mount for the Shogun. Over here, we got a small softbox with one of these funky E27 LED bulbs that I've got. I put up this auto pole because I never use this auto pole. Whereas on this side, I've got another bulb, Parcan COB LED. And behind me, I've got my kicker up there and a track light and a few LED strips over there, putting the blue and another LED bulb at the top, blasting some red on the pictures. And that's the entire setup. So yeah, this past week, my body really acclimatized to the schedules I've been doing, and it doesn't feel so crazy anymore. I just feel bad because it was my wife's 1 week of leave, but I still had a ton of work to do. Basically, at the start of the week, Monday, spent the entire day at Port Dickson recceing for a TV series that I'll be shooting together with Mien Lee, who's the showrunner, and Gavin Yup and Tony Pietra and myself are the other directors. And recceed like every single possible location we could on that day for that. So we left at like 11 a.m. and got back like about 10:30 p.m. Next day, it was actually in the studio cleaning up a lot and getting the aircon units cleaned up and serviced because it's been a while and the place has been dusty and closed off during MCO, and I needed everything nice and cold, and I especially needed the toilets to be clean and for the lights to be working. So I was on my hands and knees just scrubbing shit all day, because the next day on Wednesday I was shooting Susan Lancaster. That was a whole day over here, shooting her on a full green screen all the way down to the feet for a virtual red carpet. And she's technically the very first person to rent out the space. So she was my first customer. That was interesting and a lot of fun. It was a great way to see how well the green screen would work. Thursday was my day off, but not really, because I spent that entire day editing. Like from day to night, just nonstop in front of the computer. Friday was meetings all day. Started off with a meeting with the client for another job that I've got at the end of the month. Then right after that, a meeting with Mien to go through this TV series, some of the more complex shots and how to set them up and stuff. Saturday, it was supposed to be a home day, but it was mostly spent with a contractor checking out certain areas of my house because of a whole bunch of leaks. I also needed to do camera prep for my shoot on Sunday. And that night we were gonna have a little break, me and my wife, and go for a movie night and watch Eternals on IMAX. I have thoughts. We'll be talking about it on Geeks in Malaysia this week in terms of the movie as a whole. But one thing I will say right now is fuck LPF and their bullshit censoring. It's weird. Any kissing, not just the gay kiss, but even the heterosexual kiss, they were just really awkward jump cuts. I know there's supposed to be like a PG-13 sex scene. I knew that was not going to be there, but we can't even watch them kiss. But yeah, Sunday, went to shoot another play at KL Pack, this time for Short and Sweet Musical, and bumped into Al, who some of you who watch this YouTube series will probably notice in the comments section. So that was nice to meet Al again. Haven't seen the dude in a while. Had no idea he was going to be there, so that was fun. And yeah, that brings me back to the point where after that, had my Mikey's Pizza, 2 slices of cheese pizza, and was completely zonked out. Yeah, I didn't give myself a break. That was the thing. I didn't really give myself an off day. Even that Saturday was technically kind of busy because you're looking at all this shit that's wrong with the infrastructure and plumbing of your house, and I really didn't give myself time to recuperate. But I have been feeling, I don't know what's the word, but it's just becoming a little bit more natural now, this kind of schedule, which is good because it took like a month and a half? And I guess it doesn't help that, like, you know, compared to a regular job, it's very regimented, 9 to 5. So you have a schedule that you just need to get back into. Being in the industry I'm in, it's a little bit all over the place. I might be working nights, I might be working days, I might be working mornings, and then maybe not. So who knows? But I really have to attribute my switch in attitude and being able to get into this rhythm a little bit more to a friend of mine, an old friend of mine from back in the days in UK, Jane, who myself and another friend, Saj, who's another friend of mine from university, we got onto a WhatsApp call, video call to just chat with each other. And then after Saj left, it was just me and Jane talking. And, you know, I was telling her about how exhausted I was and how it was really hard to, you know, get back into a work schedule. And she really helped me put things into perspective in a way that only she can. Because there's been a couple of times where this has happened, where I've been feeling messed up about my industry or my work, or, you know, not sure if I'm on the right path or whatever. And it's around those times when I have a chat with Jane and she helps to just put my brain back on track with this enthusiasm, which I attribute 100% to her. Like, her enthusiasm is awesome. And it's a very simple sentiment where she just says, like, hi, you're doing what you love. That is always awesome, you know, regardless. And she's right. She's absolutely right. Like, I think one of the things that you tend to forget when, you know, like, for myself, I'm a filmmaker. And the majority of people around me, obviously in my professional life, but also my social life, are fellow filmmakers or people in the industry, people who work in film, producers, editors, directors, cinematographers, all of that. So when you talk about your problems, the good thing is that they can relate, but the other thing is that you both end up just complaining about shit. And it never seems like, you know, there doesn't seem to be any way out. Whereas when you have friends that are outside of your industry, who have known you before you got in, that always helps to give yourself a sense of perspective and someone who's been watching from the outside, who's seen what you've been doing, you know, because they have a completely different perspective to what you have. Like for me, I'm always in doubt over where I am in my career. I see other people who came up the same time as me or before or since, and you get that sense of envy and, you know, the grass is always greener on the other side. And, you know, you're like, motherfucker, that guy got his movie there, this guy's doing this over there, that guy got a grant on this guy's directing that, this guy's getting jobs over there, what the fuck am I doing? And it's totally understandable, you know, like think about it. This TV series that I'm gonna be on next year is the first time in a long time that I've been hired by a studio to direct fiction. I've been directing my own fiction for the past couple of years. And everything that I've been doing, if I've been called in to work on something by a studio or station, it hasn't been as a director, it's been as a DOP. That's how I've been, you know, putting food on the table, by being the camera guy, not the director. Even though I started off as a director, it just happened to be more work available, you know? And a lot less cock smoking in the process too, I gotta say. There's always been those thoughts of like, you know, not just envy, but am I on the right path in my career? Is this as good as it gets? All that kind of stuff. And I've made peace with that. But of course, that, you know, it's always going to creep up and bug you every once in a while, and that sense of imposter syndrome and all kinds of things. And so to have a friend who knew you from even before I was doing theater in the university, like directing theater. Like me and Jane knew each other from our first year of uni, She was in the Students' Union Drama Society with us, but I think me and Saj were the only ones acting. So she's known me from that point, when I was a skinny Asian kid who was just weird and goofy. And she's gone to see me from being in bands and music to making my own first film and all of that stuff. She has a very different perspective. So when she's talking about it, it's like from that outsider's point of view, it's very helpful to see that point of view, to get yourself back on track. Like, if you're just stuck within your industry people, you're just thinking about it purely from that point of view, and it doesn't help sometimes. Of course, a lot of times you need it. You need to be able to talk to your peers and get a different perspective from within the industry. But it's great to have a perspective from outside the industry. Anyway, that's all for this week, and we'll see what next week holds.